Welcome! My name is Morgan Forrest.
And my name is Sean Dennis.
And we are Prevention Attention Newscast, brought to you by
the North Country Health Consortium
and the Department of Health and Human Services.
Today we have a number of interesting topics lined up, including the effects of vaping on your lungs, mental health, distracted driving, health in general. And joining us right now, we have two students with the Governor's Youth Advisory Council joining us.
Hello guys, thank you so much for coming here. Would you mind introducing and telling us a bit about yourselves and what you do on the Governor's Youth Council?
My name's Lauralee Godfrey, and I'm from Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Hey, I'm Narayan Sajeev, and I'm from Nashua, New Hampshire.
The Governor's Youth Advisory Council is made up of youth from across the state who advise our governor on policies related to substance misuse and harm reduction. We're trying to make sure that we can represent our peers and make sure that we can enact change that works for everyone. Most recently, we've been working on writing mental health legislation for students in New Hampshire. After 4 years of taking classes in high school, I hadn't once been taught about mental health.
Yeah, I didn't really learn about mental health either in high school.
So, with the help of my friends on the Governor's Youth Advisory Council, we researched to see if other schools in New Hampshire were facing the same problem. And they were. Nobody was learning mental health education.
Yeah, so we presented our findings to the governor, which kind of kicked off our legislative campaign.
So this past year, our council helped write a bipartisan bill with legislators from across the aisle. We're trying to pass a law to make sure that everyone has proper mental health education. This could range from something as simple as learning to take care of your mental health with coping strategies or recognizing symptoms of mental illnesses. Unfortunately, a lot of students aren't receiving the treatment that they need because they don't even know that they have a mental illness in the first place. And this law is trying to make sure that Granite State students are stronger and more capable.
Yeah, here on the Governor's Youth Advisory Council, we really believe that mental health education is critical to preventing substance misuse. So we really want to make sure that everyone receives the education that they deserve.
We're hoping that we can get this law passed within the next year or so. So keep your eye out, and maybe sometime in the future, you'll be learning about mental health education.
That's amazing, and you guys are great. I want to continue the conversation because you have plenty more interesting things to talk about, but for now, we've got to cut to a couple commercials.
And we're back!
So, we've heard some interesting things in the news. It's still not quite sure. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about your latest initiative, the No Safe Experience campaign?
So here on the Governor's Youth Advisory Council, we're trying to raise awareness that taking substances without a prescription can be fatal.
We started the No Safe Experience campaign just in January to highlight the fact that the Drug Enforcement Agency has found fentanyl, another type of drug, in a lot of commonly used illicit drugs. If you don't know what it is, fentanyl is an even more powerful and dangerous drug. It's 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine.
This campaign isn't meant to spread fear, but to prevent substance misuse and premature loss of life. We want to encourage conversations about fentanyl and all substances in general.
We want youth to know that there's no safe experience with drugs because you don't know whether counterfeit pills or illicit substances are laced with fentanyl.
Really, there is no safe experience with substances unless they are prescribed by a provider and taken only as directed by the person they are prescribed to.
We want to make sure that youth in our state are informed and engaged with this issue. Stay safe out there.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much. This is great work, really.
It's been amazing having you in.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day.
You're doing wonderfully.
Thank you so much for having us. It was great talking to you.
Wow, that was great.
I know, they're amazing, and it's really nice to see youths, especially in our part of the world, working on prevention. It's not something you see.
Since most kids don't care about this type of thing.
I know. There needs to be more of us, and we need to do more.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of the doing more thing, I've got an interview in Whitefield.
What? Okay. Well, I guess while she's doing that means I get the fluffy chair. That's so much better on my back. Okay, so while she's on her way to Whitefield, let's send it to our roving reporter, Scott Black, who's currently covering a prevention event going on at Woodsville High School. Take it away, Scott.
I'm Scott Black here at Woodsville High School with Mr. Dick Guy, who's been an EMT here in town for 42 years.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, Mr. Guy, so how many calls have you seen that started with some sort of intoxication?
Over 42 years, quite a lot. Back in the earlier years, it was fairly common. We'd see a call every few weeks that was somebody gone off a road, hopefully not hurt badly, but with today's designs in cars, much less as far as injuries, but and we see less people doing that today.
Also, so what would you say to someone who thinks they're fine to drive, well, even though they're intoxicated?
So that question comes up once in a while, and I think the answer to that is that if somebody's asking you if you're okay to drive, you probably aren't. Your judgment deteriorates with every drink you take. I know after a drink, you probably think you're fine. After two, you probably think even more so that you're fine, even though you're less. Your judgment starts to deteriorate.
Thank you for that. So what are some of the differences you've seen between older and younger generations while driving intoxicated?
Honestly, that's a tough one. I'm not sure it's a generational thing. Younger people are learning the ropes. I mean, older folks, they may know their limits a little better than the younger ones. And I think that's maybe a problem with the younger generation. They haven't learned their limits and when they should and shouldn't do things like that.
What would you recommend someone do to prevent themselves from getting into those situations where they may drive intoxicated?
Yeah. Well, so I think just in general, and my personal thing is, if I have a beer, that's it for me. I'm not behind the wheel for 6 hours. If I have two, not until tomorrow. And that's always been my rule.
That's great.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, what limits do you believe that other people should be looking for driving or intoxication or being driving intoxicated?
What limits? Again, it varies from person to person. I think you'll probably find as you go through life, you'll see somebody that can have one drink and they're gone. And you'll find somebody else who can have a couple and they seem steady as a rock. People need to think about what's going to happen after they start drinking and plan it early on. Am I going to do too much of this? And if so, what am I going to do?
Definitely. And I think that's all our questions. So thank you, Mr. Guy.
You're welcome.
Back to you at the desk.
Thank you very much, Scott. Now, let's go check in on Morgan. So I guess she's going to take a few minutes. So why don't we cut to a commercial break? Well, looks like she'll be at Whitefield Elementary any minute now. She just passed Dunkin' Donuts. Speaking of Dunkin' Donuts, our intern Zach spilt my coffee on the way here earlier. He's great. Probably gonna go get one of those. Speaking of which, I have my interview at Woodsville? I have my interview at Woodsville I've got to get to. Take it away, Morgan.
Hi everyone, my name is Morgan Forrest. I'm here at the Whitefield Elementary School with the lovely Mariah Colstring. Mariah, how are you today?
I'm great, thanks for having me.
That is fantastic. So what are you doing here today?
Well, my name's Mariah Colstring, and I'm the Drug Free Communities Program Coordinator for the Haverhill Area Substance Misuse Prevention Coalition. And my job is to provide prevention and education, raise awareness about substances and drugs and alcohol. So I'm here to talk with some middle schoolers about vaping today.
That's fantastic. What is the most important thing you hope to get in through those middle schoolers today?
There's a lot to know, but a couple key points I really want students to take home is that one of the most important things is they're being tricked. There is a lot of money behind tobacco and vaping, and really students are being used as guinea pigs and lab rats as science experiments to figure out the long-term effects of vaping.
Well, that sounds a lot scary, but what exactly is the danger in that?
Yeah, so vaping is harmful because it causes addiction. Almost every vape has nicotine in it, which students don't always think. They think it's flavoring or just water vapor, but it's not that at all. So it creates the pathway for addiction, other addictions to happen, and we know that once those vapes move off of the shelves, they're going to be stuck with traditional cigarettes.
Yeah, so a lot of people say that vapes don't contain as much nicotine as cigarettes and that they're actually a lot better for you. So how do you see the vaping really turning into nicotine?
So there are nicotine. There's also a boatload, plethora of other chemicals that are present in these things. For example, diacetyl, which is the chemical that gives you popcorn lung. Also propylene glycol, acetone, which takes nail polish remover off of your fingers. So those are just to name a few. And these are things that we don't really know how it impacts all of our other organs, our brain, our lungs, our heart. And really those are the things that all of the youth are being used as experiments to figure out.
Yeah, and that sounds really just dangerous and addictive. What would you say to someone who is stuck in addiction? Is there hope for them to get out, or?
There's absolutely hope if you are already vaping or if you're smoking traditional cigarettes. There's a lot of resources available. There's My Life, My Quit, which is a resource here in the state of New Hampshire that you can use for free. You don't need your parents' permission. It's completely confidential. And these individuals will help you quit your addiction and get off of the nicotine or the cigarettes. So a lot of resources available. There's also the Smoke-Free Teen Line, where you can put in your information, your cell phone number, and get a text every day that helps keep you on track and reach your goals.
That's super fantastic, Mara. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for
Thanks.
your time. Back to the studio.
Oh. Zach. Zach. Yeah. We gotta go to Woodsville. Hit the button. On the control. No. On the table. Yeah. Hit the... No.
We assume what other people feel.
Yeah. That one. No. Go back. No. Woodsville. Western.
Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
Parents who use drugs have children who use drugs.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
My name is Sean Lemming. I'm coming to you live from the Woodsville High School. Today I'm joined by Miss Lexi Bly. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Wonderful. So, if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been doing this?
Yep, so this is my second tour. We bring the Matrix Entertainment Save a Life tour every spring to 10 different New Hampshire high schools.
Okay. In relation to distracted driving, what do you consider would be the most dangerous distraction for drivers, especially youths?
So in youth, we see a lot of texting and driving. However, all distractions are dangerous.
Okay. So as soon as the simulators become free, well, actually first, do you mind explaining how the simulators changed over the years and how they work?
Most certainly. So a lot of people that I talk to remember the drunk driving goggles and having a go-kart and going around. However, that's not best practice anymore, so we have brought the simulators here. So behind me, you'll see the student right here is actually in our texting and driving simulators. So basically we have them sit down, get comfortable, and then we just tell them to text and drive. The one right over here is our impaired driving. We have the Oculus where the students will put those on, and then every few seconds the steering wheel, the gas, and the brakes will get impaired, so it'll be harder for them to use.
Okay. So when they become free, do you mind if I use them myself and get a hands-on experience with them?
Not at all. I greatly appreciate that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Alright, so take a seat, get yourself comfortable.
Thank you, Miss Bly.
Go ahead and push the gas down. You're going to release that. Do it one more time. And the next time that you release it, you're going to be in control of the vehicle. I'll give you a second to get used to it, and then I'll hand over the phone.
Okay.
Now your friend's texting you. So we just passed a speed limit sign. Did you see what that was?
30.
We are actually at a green light right now, so somebody behind you is probably honking, ready to go.
There they are.
There is a person behind you. Did you check your mirrors?
I see them. It's a white car.
One more time. Can you see okay? Okay.
So going below the speed limit will also have a officer pull you over because that's suspicious behavior.
You're not using your mirrors.
I have blinkers. Oh.
Going around them. Do you see what that speed limit sign says?
Nope.
That one
Not
was
at all.
50, and so we're going 12 and a 50 right now. So something to also keep in mind, the way that you have your phone, if you were to get into an accident, your airbags are going to deploy, that phone is going to be coming up to your face, and then your two forearms will actually be broke because of the way that you have them
Oh, that's
positioned.
nice. That's really nice.
So I'm noticing that it's difficult to stay on your side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We are almost on the other side of the road too at this point, going into the medians. That's the time.
You really do lose all focus and control of the vehicle as soon as you look away.
Most certainly.
I have a lot of friends who say wearing a seatbelt is a safe enough fallback to, text and drive, drink and drive. What are some other common myths that kids believe about distracted driving or inebriated driving?
So basically they think right now we're seeing a lot of, if I smoke some marijuana, that I'm actually driving better. You're actually driving worse. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bly.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, just no commercial. Okay, everybody, we are done here today. Thank you so much for staying with us. I hope you got something out of it. Special thanks to Greg, Sean, and Zach, our intern. He does things. The North Country Health Consortium, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Governor's Youth Advisory Council. Especially, they did such a great job. Thank you guys so much. And to Flume Media for filming us and letting us use their amazing space. So thanks, guys. Stay safe out there today.